come up here to do that?
We'll call you up. Yeah, and your hotel.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's always scary.
Yeah. What your brothers?
My brother lives there. Nice things that are happening with my father. Supposed to work, hopefully, it didn't. That's what's a little scary. But he.
But your brother's with him. Yeah, that's good.
Havana Shira, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. It is such a privilege to be with you and to start adjusting to Shabbat services starting while it's still light outside, the way that it bathes this room in warm light. I hope it's a place where all of you feel like you can take a deep breath, you can start to conclude the week that you just lived through. You can find your breath, you can find some spaciousness, hopefully some peace. We are so grateful to Julie and to Roberta who are welcoming you at the door. We want to say a special welcome to the Temple Isaiah Teen Group who is joining us this Shabbat, and to Officer Zoe Marks, who you'll get to hear from later. We're so grateful to have your words and wisdom infusing the service. My name is Rabbi Julie Carroll. I'm going to be co-officiating tonight's Shabbat worship with Senior Rabbi Ben Spratt, Cantor Stefano Iacchino, our cantorial intern Justin, and we are so, Justin Callis, excuse me, and we're so grateful that J. David Williams, Conrad Korsh, and Shane Shanahan are bringing music to our service. Of course, we're also so grateful to all of you. We're in Parshat Tazria. You might know it more as Tazria Mitzor because it's often read together with the subsequent Parsha. And this, to be frank, is the short straw. Nobody wants Tazria. Tazria is a Parsha that's all about what happens when the body starts to struggle. And especially if you're a B'nai Mitzvah student, and we have some in the space with us this evening, this has historically been a really tough Torah portion to navigate, because these are the kinds of things that adolescents in particular don't want to think or talk about in public. However, when I was thinking about this Shabbat and starting to prepare text study for our adults tomorrow, it occurred to me that over the last 3 years, some of the most profoundly moving Divrei Torah that I've heard at B'nai Mitzvah have come from our B'nai Mitzvah, have come from the B'nai Mitzvah themselves. And so tomorrow's text study with our adults is entirely made up of quotes from Divrei Torah that have been given in this community. And so I wanted to share with you some of the wisdom that our teens have brought forth in this community to help us better relate to the Torah portion, Tazria, which is about what happens when somebody in our community gets sick and how we navigate that. Matthew Gusev tells us that Aaron's role as the high priest teaches us that those with great responsibilities carry entire nations on their shoulders. Avery Nemo said that COVID itself doesn't just disappear, like how skin disease doesn't just go away, allowing us to return back to normal life immediately. Ryan Shames said, individuals were expected to be honest about any symptoms they were having and be proactive about reporting them. This got me thinking, beyond COVID, what does it mean to be part of a community? Will Nemo said, the Israelites had no painkillers, no advanced medication, or any communications besides walking up to someone and talking to them. If they got sick, they had to isolate and leave their family. Any child who had a parent get sick had to mature very quickly. Jacob Stern taught us Pekuach Nefesh is the protection of life. It's one of the most important values in Judaism. It's where we put life first. And Julia Rudin taught us, if God's creations, humans, are creating all of the pandemic restrictions and guidelines, then that means God is here supporting us through these obstacles as well. Tonight's Shabbat service, we're going to be thinking about the wisdom of our youth and all that those younger than us have taught us. And we're going to honor the way that they deepen and allow us to better connect with and honor our tradition, even when you get the short straw, that difficult Torah portion that turns out to contain the most wisdom of all. And we know that new students are going to add to this very beautiful Torah and conversation that we are a part of when they ascend the Bima tomorrow to grapple with and teach us ever more about Parshat Tazria. So at this point, I want to invite forward tomorrow's B'nai Mitzvah, Eli Wertheimer and Jerome Elian, to kindle the lights of Shabbat. You can find that blessing on page 2 of your Siddur or up on the wall. Yasher Koach. Our service is going to continue with Kabbalat Shabbat. Lachuna Ranana is on page 12.
Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation, from mountain to sea, hear our song. Lechuneranena, yalalai, lai, 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 lai.
We continue with Lecha Dodi on page 20, inviting in the spirit of Shabbat we imagine as a bride. Lecha Dodi, page 20.
Shabbat nekavela, ya la 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 la. Lecha dodi likrat kala, ya la 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 la. K'nei Shabbat nekavela, ya la 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 la. Shamor v'zachor v'divurecha, ishmi'anu. Adonai ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמונם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. חתותי לקראת קהלה, יאללה לה 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 לה, לפני שבת נקבלה, יאללה לה 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 לה, חתותי לקראת קהלה, יאללה לה 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 לה, לפני שבת נקבלה, יאללה לה 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 לה.
We remain standing and continue on page 28 with our call to worship, Baruch Hu.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai.
We remain standing and continue on page 34 with Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Michamocha, page 40.
Yada rai 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 rai, yada rai rai נהדר בקודש, לא רצילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני מרים. אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
At the end of a week, what I love most is walking into a space, knowing that each of us have walked our own path. For some of us, a path this week of stumble. For some, we felt like we have been soaring. For some of us, a week of solitude. For some of us, the blessing of connection. But in this space, we lift a shared intention. What it is, regardless of what has been in the moments leading up to this space, that we can step into a space defined by sanctuary, defined as entering into a shelter of peace, of wholeness, of connection, of community, to give us for just a moment a breath of this blessing, to invigorate us, to inspire us, a reminder of what the world ought to be for us all. Hashkivenu, page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amidinu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amidinu
Eloheinu leshalom ve'amidenu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ushmor tzedkenu
gratitude to Rabbi Carroll for the frame of our service tonight of lifting up the Torah of those who are younger than us. Torah may come in the explicit words of Jar Torah. It also sometimes can come in the very things that we care most about. My children's favorite movie is a movie called Inside Out. And for those of you who have not seen it, it's a Pixar animated film where the various emotions of a human psyche are actually embodied. And one of the primary characters, which is Joy, rules like a despot, doing all she can to try to cordon off and keep at bay all of the other emotions, all of the things that may create the feeling of fragility, illness, ailment, disgust, anger. We need to batten the hatches down and does all she can to keep them away. And in many ways, this is the wisdom of Parshat Tazria, letting us know that at a time of affliction in our lives, what is the proper course of action? To imagine that idea of curating away the struggle, to take those who struggle and ail and cordon them off away from the world. And when they have healed, when they are ready to meld back into a world of wholeness, then we can welcome them back. And it's interesting because the key moment in the film that my children brought up to me and continue to refer to over and over is a moment where a character, Bing Bong, I won't try to describe him, who cries candy, suddenly is sitting weeping. And for the first time in her existence, Joy watches what happens as sadness sits down next to Bing Bong, lets Bing Bong lift up his struggles in life, and feels comforted knowing that sadness is simply there bearing witness. And that bit of Torah is actually something that our sages brought forward in interpretation of this week's Torah portion. From the Talmud, Rabbi Yochanan reflects on a moment when he encounters a young person in his midst. And this person is facing affliction and struggle and gives this advice: announce your trouble to your friends so that they may offer prayers of compassion to be given to you. And so they go on and relay that this practice comes forward, that people started to take Rabbi Yochanan's advice. And in lifting up the troubles, people's afflictions were eased and abated. We enter this moment in our service, a time when many of us feel that the struggles of our life have remained hidden. This Shabbat, in many synagogues around this country, we are marking Infertility Awareness Shabbat, and the way in which so many of us harbor a journey that others may not ever perceive or understand. In this space, so much of our lives are hidden, and so much of the energy of this world invites us, like Joy, to try to push them away and bury them so the world never needs to see them. We curate the smiles, we say the cordial greetings, but we never surface the trouble aloud. But in Misha Berach, in our prayer for healing, we name names, and we imagine ourselves finding the courage not only to speak our own troubles into the world, but believe in our own capacity and responsibility to respond, just as Rabbi Yochanan did. That perhaps the fullest form of healing comes not in isolating and creating a healing through separation, but the healing and wholeness that comes through solidarity, of recognizing that we may care for one another in the most lonely of journeys in life. We bring into our prayers tonight the prayers of healing for Sandy Sarabin, Tracy Lustig, Cassie Lustig, Patricia Horn, Stephen Schwinder, Mark Miller, Ellen Kirshner, Ricky Dessen, Debbie Plotz-Pierce, Steve Lappin, Ari Ginor, Lainey Wasker, Stanley Reifer, Elaine Herrick, Judy Garber, Vlad Koski, Eve Loon, Leon Berkowitz, Olga Zolotskovsky, Jerry Miller, Sharon Eidelberg-Spratt, Julie Dicterow, Clarice Kestenbaum, Lydia Rental, Raina DeVeza, Nicholas Johnston, Katie Driscoll, Ken Zuckerman, Harriet Feldman, Lynn Fisher, Barbara Leader, Fred Rothschild, Yehudit Sprana, Heather Ruddy, Natalie Ehrlich, and Zelda. If there are others that you'd like to bring into our Misha Berach, our prayer for healing, we invite you to raise your hand and offer the names as we go around the room. Juju? John? Jeremy? Thank you. Sorry. We wish them all of Wash Lema complete and speedy healing as we continue with the Mishaberach found on page 253.
May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imolteinu bekol habracha leavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
As we turn to our prayer for the captives, we acknowledge that there are still so many whose journey of healing hasn't even yet begun. We invite the community to please rise as you are able. We pray on this night to God, who we call Podeh Umatzil, the one who rescues and saves, who redeems and protects. Guide our loved ones home. Teach us the tools to rescue and save, to redeem and protect. Strengthen, God, the hearts of those kidnapped, to help them hold on and be brave through this ordeal, to know resilience and hope through it all, to feel in their bones that they will not be abandoned. Soften, God, the hearts of their captors, to see humanity in themselves and in those they have taken from their homes, that they may release them soon and in good health. And focus, God, the hearts of the soldiers and officials who will themselves enact the mitzvah of Pidyon Shvuyim. Make them wise and clear-sighted, and ready them for this task in which they will act while holding all of Israel's heart in their hands. Ana Adonai Hoshiana, Ana Adonai Hatzlichana. May the ancient words in our scrolls amplify our voices as we cry out for the safe return of our people. We pray for the peace of Israel and for the safety of all innocent lives in danger on this night. We invite the community to remain standing as you are able as we turn to God and ask for God's help and nourishment as we yearn to craft the prayers of our own hearts. We continue with the Amidah. The Amidah can be found on page 46. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your grace. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Mekonei HaKol Mezocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot Umevei Geula Libnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Ata Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Tzomech Noflim Ve'rofeh Cholim Omatir Rasurim Umekayei Emunato Nishenei Afar Michamocha Bal Yevorot Omer Omelach Melech Meimit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah le'achayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kadoshim b'chol yom yalalu chasela Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shema.
Ha'el hakadosh.
We invite the community to please remain standing as you are able as we join together in this prayer for peace. Our God, we pray for the peace, security, and vision of the state of Israel and its people. Spread blessing upon the land and upon all who labor in its interest. Protect the people of Israel during this time of hate, war, and terrorism. Protect the innocent among the Palestinian people that they may be safe and free from death and injury. Inspire Israel's leaders to both defend our people and follow the ways of righteousness and compassion. Remove from the hearts of our people fear, hatred, malice, strife, and vengeance. May the ancient hope of Zion inspire in us to strive toward Israel's founding ideals of equity and embrace of all her inhabitants. May we raise our eyes toward a future in which everyone in the region, irrespective of religion, ethnicity, and nationality, have the capacity to live in safety and with opportunity. May we be beacons of hope, standing in solidarity with generations of Jewish people, striving for a world of justice, compassion, and peace. As we say together, Amen. Please be seated. As we think of what we learn from those younger than us, I was drawn to the idea at the Seder table of the 4 children. And interestingly, the 4 sons made their debut in a 16th century Haggadah that was printed in Prague. And if we follow the way in which the Rasha, the wicked child, who I like to think of as the skeptic, if we follow the way in which this child is depicted, we learn a lot about Jewish history. In the original depiction in the 16th century Haggadah, the Rasha is dressed in military garb. Now, why would there be anything inherently wicked about serving in the military? Zoe, I'm not commenting on that. The reason that he is dressed in military garb is because in the medieval world, Jewish people didn't serve in the military. So that was seen as a form of assimilation and abandonment of one's community. It was the garb of the non-Jew to be depicted in a military uniform. If we look more toward the birth of Zionism, however, all of a sudden we see this inversion. We see this embrace of the Rasha, the wicked child, as the person who is properly rebellious, who's starting to question the ways of old. The wise child is depicted as complacent, as passive, as accepting the ways of the world, the ways of a very anti-Semitic world, whereas the Rasha is the activated person, the person who's willing to fight for a better future. And then if you look at a Haggadah that was printed in Israel in 1955, we have an even different story. The wise child is now the chalutz, the pioneer, the builder up of the state of Israel. The wicked child is posh and bourgeois, an enemy of socialist Zionism. You have the simple child who is depicted looking at a ship full of Jewish people arriving in the state of Israel and paralyzed with overwhelm at the incredible opportunity that the building up of the state of Israel inspires. And then the scholar, the relentless scholar in front of a book with their payas, that's deemed as the simple child, as the child who doesn't know how to ask, because that's a child from a different world, an older world, who doesn't understand how to translate that identity of scholarliness and of relegation in society into an empowered chalutz person who's building up a nation of Jewish people. If we look at how the children at the Seder table are depicted, we learn a lot about Jewish history, but we don't yet really learn about what children think. And what I want to invite us all to think about and consider is, what would it be like? What would we learn at our Seder table if we actually asked children for their wisdom? If we actually asked children what they were skeptical about and what was challenging for them? If we wondered what they wish were simpler and what's too complicated? And if we wanted to know, what do you want to learn more about that you don't know? I think it's really beautiful the way that our Haggadot give us a picture and an understanding of the agenda of those who were creating our Haggadot. But I think we might find more harmony at our Seder tables if instead of pitting these personalities against one another, we sought to find the way in which they can be in harmony with one another, because we all know that these are actually facets of each and every one of us. We're going to turn now to our prayer for peace, Shalom Rav, page 60.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech aton lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech aton lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol het uvechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We invite you into personal reflection.
Reifi Region Libi Iu Leratzon Im Reifi Region Libi Lefanecha Iu Leratzon Im Reifi Region Libi Iu Leratzon Im Reifi Region Libi Lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Vegoali Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Vegoali Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you. Oh, my rock, and my redeemer.
It is a privilege now to invite to the Bima Officer Zoe Marks, who is representing Yatar, a specialist first responder anti-terror unit that operates in Gaza, Lebanon, and other critical areas along Israel's borders. She's going to introduce herself, and it is my privilege to name that we are the very first synagogue that she's had the opportunity to speak to as she shares with communities around the United States the importance of the work of the Yatar unit. We are so grateful that you are with us, Officer Marks, and we're really grateful to learn from you. Please join us.
Hi everyone. Thank you very much for having me here this evening, and thank you to Rabbi Julie and to all the team for allowing this to happen. It's a great privilege to be in front of you in such a beautiful community, so far away from home, but feeling so much at home. I won't take up much of your time today to present to you about myself and my unit, but outside on the tables I have laid out some brochures and contact sheets. If you are interested in staying in touch, I'd love to speak to you over the next few weeks and months and so on. Please feel free. I'd be very grateful if you'd fill out your contact details on those sheets and take the brochures for some more information. As I was introduced, my name is Zoe Marks. I am a reserved captain in the IDF, and I was born and raised in Israel. At the age of 18, I recruited to the IDF as mandatory to all Israeli citizens. During my service, that's when I was picked to go to officers' school. And after I've completed successfully my officers' school, I was placed in Gush Etzion area. After finishing my service, I decided to start working for Adal Security. I worked there in several different locations, including Dubai, Munich, and several places here in the US. Now, as I said, I am an active reservist, and during my time with Elal, I was approached by my unit, Yatar, in order to join their unit and to advocate for them here in the US and elsewhere. Now, I started my post with Yatar in the last September, and the need even then was a great need for help for different equipment in order to supply our work, on all the borders of Israel. Now, my story today, it begins on October 5th. October 5th was a Thursday, and that picture you can see up on the walls is a picture of me with two amazing Yatar soldiers, Ilan and Arik. I spent the entire week with Ilan and Arik, touring the Gaza border, working hard every day, all day, and we had so much fun. I got to know them very well, and they were Ilan was the security director of Kibbutz Nachaloz, and Arik was the security director of Kibbutz Be'eri. That's October 5th, the Thursday. I ended my week so happy. I enjoyed my time with Ilan and Arik, getting to know them and the Gaza border even more. And I was headed off to a breakaway up in the north, and ironically enough, I was with old friends from the army. On Saturday, Shabbat, the October 7th, my friends and I all woke up to our phones just buzzing non-stop. Very shortly after, we all received messages, go, get your gear, and drive up to base. Being in the north, it took me personally a few hours to get to my base in Etzion. Once I arrived in the base, it was incredible to see that the whole base was swarming with thousands of reserve soldiers just waiting to be recruited. Some of them weren't even called up yet. By nightfall on October 7th, every single one of those soldiers, and thousands more, were recruited, equipped, and ready to go fight for his or her country. Now, a moment ago, I told you about my week prior with Ilan and Arik. The night of October 7th, late that night, about 11:30 p.m., I received a phone call from my commanding officer, letting me know they both died that morning, protecting their communities and their families. Like many of us, I was in Israel, and I felt the shock and the horror that the entire country felt while being there on October 7th. The Hamas attacked, murdered, kidnapped and raped all of our men, women and children, all just innocent people trying to live their lives. It was brutal, and they left entire towns destroyed and families just torn apart. Now Yatar, in 2016, was founded by a group of reserve fighters. All of them served or lived along the borders of Israel, which include Judea and Samaria, Egypt, Jordan, Gaza, and Lebanon, and Syria, of course. All these reserve fighters came together in order to form this unit. Now, in 2016, that year, Israel saw an increased amount of terrorist attacks going on around specifically Judea and Samaria regions. These attacks included the brutal murders of Dafna Meir and Esther Organ, both mothers, together having 11 children, left motherless. Now, the reality in Israel is that much of the terrain that separates between us and all of our neighbors is very difficult, it's rough, and it's challenging, yet it's perfect for anyone trying to infiltrate or smuggle anything through. The IDF has the technology and the intelligence in order to get to places, but unfortunately the reality is that they don't always get there on time. So then it was somehow decided between the IDF and these few original Yatar soldiers to form this ATV anti-terror border unit. We use our ATVs for their speed and for the ability to cross any difficult terrain Israel has to offer. Our first ATV went to work in 2017, and the results quickly show themselves. Now, although our ATVs, they're equipped, they're fast, and they can cross any challenging terrain in their way, they offer zero protection, unlike all of the other armored vehicles the IDF and other security forces have to offer. Now, besides having to retrain in order to be part of our unit Yatar, all of our fighting soldiers, men and women, are all 100% reservists, all completed full services, and they are all drawn to us from the IDF's elite units. Up until the October 7th war started, Yatar had teams deployed all across the borders of Israel. We had ATVs in every single border, operating alongside all of the other IDF units in those areas. And this is working against terrorists, infiltrators, smugglers, and even offering and giving first response medical care. These are just a few examples of the things that we were doing and still do in order to just save lives as the ultimate goal. Once the war broke out on October 7th, we'd had to face new challenges and adapt to new situations and operations. We started operating even more in Gaza and even more tirelessly and non-stop because of the war. This is probably the first time ever that an unarmored vehicle, an ATV, is present on the battlefield. Part of the things that we'd had to adapt to and we had to change in our unit was we took a few of our fleet of ATVs and retrofitted them into evacuation vehicles. Using these evacuation vehicles, we can use them inside of the battlefield in order to extract wounded soldiers and save their lives by taking them into a helicopter or to a point of care and in time. Just a few weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was in Israel myself, working with my unit Yatar, and the unit recorded its 180th successful evacuation operation. Now, I can't tell you much about all the other things that we do operate and which operations we partake in during the war and specifically in Gaza, but these evacuation operations, they're so delicate and we do them so successfully, and they are a lot of what we do inside Gaza, alongside also the insertion of special forces. Now, like many other units, military units in Israel, we rely heavily on support from our friends and help and communities around the world in order to supplement our operational budgets. Something that I have come to learn from being with Yatar for the last few months is that from a donor's perspective, Yatar being such a tight-knit unit of less than 100 soldiers, all reservists, we are able to create a very close and special bond with all of our donors and supporters around the world. Now, along to what we do receive from what help we do receive from the IDF, we are also in great need of more equipment and more ATVs in order to expand our unit and to be able to operate even more and even harder everywhere in order to keep our country safe and our people safe inside of it. I'm sure that many of you have also contributed to the war efforts in some way or another, but I am here tonight to ask you to dig deep and donate as little or as much as you can in order to help us. We do appreciate every single donation, and also if you might consider to also introduce me personally to any individual or any group that you think might be interested in learning more about what Yatar does and what our unit and how we operate on a daily basis, I would really appreciate that. I want to thank you again all. I'm going to be here for some more, I'll be here afterwards also to answer any questions or you'd like to talk about anything else. And I'm reminding you also about the brochures and the contact sheets that we have. So thank you again very much. Appreciate it.
It is a privilege to hear the perspective and see embodied the bravery and the commitment to the security of Israel in just one single person. And we know, Officer Marks, that you represent so many universes that are working tirelessly to keep the state of Israel safe. It is astonishing to think of what was being dreamed about in those 18th century Zionist Haggadahs and where we are now, and how hard it is to continue to work for the state of Israel that we all know is possible, where we can all feel safe and we can reach for the dream that we have had for so long to live as a free people in our home. We continue to articulate that very dream, saying the words Aleinu, it is on us, and we see how you have devoted your life to making that work your own. We're going to invite the community to please rise as you are able for our concluding liturgy, beginning on page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו 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 אחד.
We turn now to memory and legacy as we prepare to recite the words of Mourner's Kaddish. We invite you, if you hear the name of someone that you love and are connected to rise as you are able and affirm your presence as you hear the name of your loved one. We'll begin with those recently departed. That's the period of Shiva and Shloshim. And if you would like to enact an additional ritual of memorial, you can come to one of the two stations at the front of the room and hold a stone and imbue that stone with your love and your connection to that person and place it on slate. With those recently departed, the period of Shiva, the first week of mourning of the 30 days, the Shloshim period, we are now remembering Paulette Kohan, Dr. Peter Holt, Joy Herman, Dick DeSherer, Rena Barzilai, Sheila Becker, Gilda Resnick, Michael Leckstein, Michael Gold, Paul Wattenberg, Arthur Plitt, and my cousin Brian Altman. Are there additional individuals in the period of Shiva, the first week? Is anyone in the period of Shloshim, the first month of mourning a loved one? And is anyone in the first year, Shana? Orly, do you want to say? We turn now to those whose yard sites we honor and acknowledge this Shabbat. Samuel Abrams, Herbert L. Abramson, Joanne Alter, Milton Ash, Martin Auslander, Ellen Baxt, Gerald Baum, Dr. Victor Baum, Mo Began, Bernard Berlowitz, Ruth Berman, Esther Bloom, Jack Blumstein, Paul Bookstaver, Anna Bram, Joseph B. Brennauer, Sidney Bressler, Louise Claire Bruto, Avram Cohen, Joseph F. Cohen, Burton Cooper, Ellen Cooper, Marion Gertrude Cousins, Fanny Danilo, Harvey Deutsch, Helen Davinsky, Susan Diamond, Benjamin Drexler, Ruth Dropkin, Stan Dropkin, Peter Drozdov, Neil Effman, Joan Earl, Rose Fadden, Clara Farber, Martin Feist, Benjamin Feiner, William Furstenberg, David Fisher, Philip Frank, Helen Burdick Friedman, Francis Friedlander, Dora Altmark Friedman, Robert Frost, Marshall Gary, Roberta Geister, Nathan Geltzer, Helen Clapper Getnick, Melvin Gittleman, Eleanor Gluck, Erica Gold, Greg A. Goldberg, Stuart Gotzigan, Carrie Gutenstein, Joseph M. Gutman, Phyllis Cedar Haber, Hannah C. Hallberg, Augustus Hammond, Robert Haskell, Pearl Hauser, Lawrence Hoffman, Bella Horn, Samuel L. Jackson, Stuart A. Jackson, Arthur George Judson, Fred Kahn, Martha Kahn, Dewey Callison, Clara Capps, Blossom Katz, Ellen Katz, Carla Jean Klein, Alan Cupper, Gertrude R. Laitman, Jacob Lehrer, Eugene Levine, Marie Lieber, Erwin Lowe, Stephen Mandel, Malvin Marks, Shirley Fishman Marcus, Jacob Marks, Joseph Mattis, Harry Meller, Edward Miller, Sanford Miller, Eleanor Moseson, Dr. Kenneth Ossip, Daniel Palish, William J. Fund, Hermina Pearson, Thelma Pressman, Sigmund Priester, Pat Pucci, Philomena Pucci, Nancy B. Rash, Sheila Reamer, Jacqueline Rennick, Inez F. Richter, Dr. Alvin L. Rittenberg, Nat Romanoff, Ruth Rutenberg, Rosalind Rosen, Walter Rosen, Arthur Rosenberg, Edward Rosenthal, Pauline Roth, Natalie Rothman, Charles Chuck Rubin, Beatrice Sands, Terry Saunders, Herbert Schiller, Joyce Schnapp, Ruth Schumann, Harvey Sibrak, Fanny Siegel, Jack Siegel, Joseph Silbert, Arnold Silverman, Faye Semensky, Jack Slivkin, Marshall Snyder, Stuart Starr, Judith Stelitsky Stetcher, Leonard Stern, Annette Stiglitz, Sidney Solds, Emma Sversky, Saul Titleman, Carrie Tishman, Abraham E. Tupfer, Eva Topper, Sidney C. Traeger, Judith Vernikoff, Dr. David Paul Waldman, Doris Watts, Dr. Martin Weich, Fred Weil, Trudy Weil, Gertrude T. Weissman, Charles R. Wilson, Lillian Wisen, David Wolfberg, and Steve Zismore. Are there additional loved ones you're remembering this Shabbat? We invite the community to please rise as you are able in sympathy and in fellowship for the recitation of Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Israel, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha barichu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael
Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Please be seated. A few, actually many meaningful opportunities coming up, beginning of course with Shabbat morning worship tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. We hope you'll join us, followed by text study. Again, a text study made completely out of Divrei Torah from our youth. Afterwards, there's going to be a screening of the See Memory 15-minute film that's comprised of 30,000 hand-painted stills directed by our very own Vivian Silvera, that's engaging with a neuroscience lab to understand how memory hurts and heals. That program is from 1:30 to 2:30 tomorrow, and we invite you to join us. Then on Wednesday, April 17th, another very important program close to my heart, the Parent Circle Families Forum. I serve on the board of this organization. It's American Friends. This is an organization that serves both bereaved Israelis and bereaved Palestinians who have lost so much over the period of the conflict and have actually found common cause and relationship relating to one another through their loss and through their bereavement and are working together toward healing. That program is going to be on April 17th from 12 to 1, and it's on Zoom. So if you have a lunch break, another opportunity to hear two very powerful perspectives from Alana Kaminka and Arab Aramin, who are going to be addressing our community. You can, of course, register for that online after Shabbat if you want to stay off your media. And then our online Passover Seder led by our senior clergy, Monday, April 22nd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. BYO Seder food, but we will bring the Haggadah and you will all bring wisdom. We're going to invite you for a moment to embody that CRS spirit by turning to a neighbor, and I invite you to share what's one thing you have learned from somebody younger than you. Take a moment, get acquainted.
I'm not inviting you to do that, right? Because that would be about
They were good.
They were good.
Yeah. Eli, we're going to invite the Wertheimer family to join us on the bima. Officer Marks, we're going to invite you, Zoe, to please join us back on the bima. We're going to honor and celebrate our B'nai Mitzvah family.
Eli, you ready for a chalice?
Come on up, come on up. We're going to turn now to Kiddush for Erev Shabbat, beginning on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai.
You can rise as you are able, sorry.
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila, lemikrae kodesh, zecher litziat mitzrayim, ki Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
L'chaim and Yasher Koach. What a Kiddush. Very impressive. We're going to conclude our service with Adon Olam, page 321. Oh, are we going to do the motzi first? Let's do the motzi first. Good idea, Rabbi Spratt. Oh, what a beautiful challah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Always a good idea to fuel before Adon Olam. Adon Olam, page 321.
ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. הוא אחד בין שני, לעם שלו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. בידו אפקיד רוחי, בעת ישן והעירה, ועם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא, אדוני לי ולא יירא. שבת
Shabbat Shalom.